Taylor, today is the 3-year anniversary of your business Headspace, which is a modern hair studio committed to merging the worlds of barbering, hairdressing, and breaking stereotypes. Your shop has a literal, let's go. Your shop has a literal perfect 5-star rating, so rare, with 600 reviews. And the comments are not just people saying they got a good haircut, they're diehard fans of what you've created. How would you describe the impact that Headspace has had in the last 3 years?
What a warm welcome. Thank you so much, Kenny. It's so funny you say that because this guy came in and got a haircut and he's like, yeah, you guys had amazing reviews. They were so good. It kind of feels like your mom wrote all of them. I was like, no, I swear, we're just that good. Headspace, as a collective, has changed the entire industry of barbering in the Chicagoland area because we have made barbershops a gender-neutral space where not only any gender and any type of people can feel comfortable in the barbershop environment, but any type of barber and artist can also feel comfortable, which I think is so important for creatives to thrive, is to feel safe in who they are and have the capacity to be themselves.
So you mentioned that when you first wanted to open your own business, you didn't get, it wasn't all overwhelming support from friends and family. And so I'm wondering, for how would you respond to someone who's in their early 20s, has no experience, but wants to open their own business?
Just like I always say, if you have a passion for something and you have a vision, that vision is a gift. And just by having the vision, it means you're being called to do something. So if you waste that vision and that passion, you're wasting your gift. No one else is going to be able to understand that vision because they don't have your eyes, they don't have that passion. But you have to trust your gut instinct and believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you.
In terms of that trusting your gut, how does that play out, not even just opening your business, but throughout the last 3 years? Were there any times that you thought Headspace was gonna fail, or maybe logically things didn't make sense, but you stuck to your gut and persevered?
Oh my gosh. I think that there were times when I had to really choose to keep my integrity in my business, and maybe by choosing to keep my integrity, I made less money or didn't make money as quickly as I could. And a lot of entrepreneurs would have told me that that was a dumb decision, but I personally think that empty values create shallow victories. So if I have to sacrifice my integrity to be successful, then I don't really want to be successful. If I have to fail in order to keep my integrity, then I'm not afraid to fail because, that's how you learn, is through making mistakes. I don't really consider anything a fail. So I've never been scared or fearful of anything. But there have been times when I really had to hone in on my gut intuition. Look at this guy.
Yo! Yo! Let's go. Yeah, so you mentioned that when you first started cutting hair, your goal was to be the best barber, to be the best barber. But over time, that wasn't leading to happiness or being the most happy, and you changed the why behind you did things and why you cut hair. And from my understanding, that why was to develop people, and it shifted. Can you walk me through that shift in the why behind what you do and the impact that's had on you?
Yeah, so I would say about the first 2 to 3 years I was cutting hair, I was so dialed in on perfecting the technical end of my trade and just creating the perfect haircuts to the point where sometimes when I was cutting hair, I wasn't even talking to people because I was just so focused on the end results and my craft. And although there is a lot of fulfillment in perfecting a craft, I believe it's selfish if you're only focusing on the art form of your trade and not the ability to actually connect with people. Because I believe that the reason that we have the opportunity to have such intimate and vulnerable conversations with people behind the chair is because it's our calling to connect with people and have those deep conversations. So if we're so dialed in on the technical end of it and not having those conversations, that's where you start to really lose the fulfillment and joy of what we do, and that's when you really miss the purpose of what you do. I think with any industry and anything that you do for a living, if you don't have purpose every day when you wake up in the morning, and you don't have a mission when you get to work, then what are you doing that job for? What are you working towards every day?
Yes, sir. Let's go. I got 2.
You got the RX?
Oh, it's the S2. I see you though, man. Yeah, thank you. So Taylor, do you think that having that why to just increase your skill those first 2 years, even though it was selfish, do you think it served you well? Do you think that's what was needed to get you the skill level that you needed to have the focus to get you to where you're at today? Did that almost serve you well, even though it wasn't sustainable?
I'll never regret anything because obviously I'm grateful for where I am today, but everything is just a learning lesson. And after the first few years I started cutting hair, I wasn't feeling fulfilled, like I said, because I was just so focused on the technical side. So I just encourage anyone who's not feeling fulfilled in what they're doing to maybe question, well, maybe my focus isn't in the right areas. Maybe I need to really pivot and change my perspective on what I'm doing. Maybe there can be fulfillment and my mindset just isn't in the right place. So I think pivoting the remainder of my career up until now and really focusing on the connection has just made me still fulfilled in what I'm doing.
And you shared that when cutting hair, sharing a mirror with someone forms a special connection with that person. Can you walk me through the power of that experience of sharing a mirror with somebody?
When you share a mirror with someone, you're really letting down a wall. I mean, think about how often you look in the mirror at yourself and someone's looking back in that mirror with you and having that vulnerable moment where your insecurities are really showing through and you're trusting that person with those emotions and really leaving your confidence in that person's hands. I think that's a really vulnerable thing in itself. I think that when you're that vulnerable with a person, it's that much easier to let your walls down in conversation and open up. I don't know if you've ever gotten a haircut and you just notice all of a sudden you're like pouring your heart out to someone because you're being taken care of in that way. And it allows you to really relax, calm down, and have that trusting energy that correlates to conversation as well.
Yeah, honestly, whenever I get haircuts, I hate looking in the mirror. Like, I almost try to not look in the mirror, which 100% speaks to me not being comfortable sitting in that vulnerability. Did that help you overcome your own insecurities of having to be in a mirror so much? Is it almost like a sink or swim type of thing, where you either overcome your insecurities or maybe you're forced to?
What I've noticed a lot about sharing a mirror with someone and really having that vulnerable space is that a lot of people will express their a lot of people will express their insecurities with me, and they'll be like, oh, I don't think I can pull that off because I have a big forehead. And I look at them and I'm like, I would never for a second genuinely think that you have a big forehead. But at a young age, maybe someone once told you that you had a big forehead, or maybe you saw a picture of yourself and the angle was bad and it looked like you had a big forehead, and now that's your narrative that you want to live by. So you'll never choose a hairstyle or a hat or a picture that would show that off. And so I've realized a lot of our insecurities are just narratives that we lie to ourselves about, and it's never too late to rewrite that narrative. A lot of our insecurities are things that we shouldn't even be insecure about. A lot of the reasons that people fall in love with someone is something that is considered imperfect to the normal person. So I think in a way it's made me realize that we have nothing to be insecure about. And every insecurity anyone's ever told me about themselves, I've just always felt like, wow, I wish that we could see ourselves in the light that other people see us. You know, no one's walking around trying to just judge you. No one's looking for insecurities. Unfortunately, a lot of people are consuming most of their energy facing their own insecurities and trying to get through their own day. So if all of us led with a loving heart and a confident heart, the world would just be a better place. I'm scared.
I feel like Velma when she enters a spooky scene. She's like scared, but she still gets it done. She's like kind of confident, you know? She's like, I'm smart enough to like figure it out, but it is creepy.
I'm in warrior mode.
Let's go. Yeah, warrior mode looks great on you.
As long as I have my glasses.
Yes, I mean, Taylor, you've cut over 15,000 people's hair, which is a hard number for me to wrap my head around. Are there any specifically memorable moments that you can reflect back on out of your experiences with those 15,000 people?
Gosh, there's just so many life-changing conversations and moments behind the chair. But specifically, this is a story that I talk about all the time and love to tell people, but it's something that has deeply, deeply impacted me and really made me want to continue to do hair in times when I'm maybe facing imposter syndrome and like doubting what I want to do. Two of the barbers that I have now that I have mentored and they've been my apprentices, they were my clients for a few years and they didn't know what they wanted to do. They were going to school, you know, trying to figure out what they wanted to pursue. They had a lot of pressure from their family to pursue more sustainable jobs, but it wasn't something that they had any passion for or necessarily wanted to do. And, you know, they expressed to me that my story really inspired them to pursue barbering. And now getting to work with them every day and watch them live out their truth and live out their passion and find so much fulfillment in their own lives makes me recognize that everything that we do as individuals is a domino effect. So there's so much power in what we do because we're setting examples and we're being role models for people. I would not want to live there.
Right, what a view. It would remind you of your impermanence. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. Have you ever had anyone be like, I don't like my haircut? Because I would never have the guts to like, have you ever had any specifically difficult customers in the moment or someone just tell you like, oh, I do not like this? Has anyone ever done that?
I feel like when something like that does happen, it's because they'll show you a picture of a celebrity and they'll be like, oh, I want to look like this person. And I'll express to them, you know, I can do this haircut on you, but this celebrity has a different face shape. This celebrity has a different hair texture and hair type. So it's not going to look exactly the same, but they're adamant on doing it. And then when I do it, they're like, oh, I don't look like that celebrity. And I'm like, babe, but you're your own person though. You're better. You're irreplaceable. Let's go.
So you would not recommend someone. You would not recommend someone to base what they want of their haircut based off of a celebrity they like. That doesn't work.
I strongly believe in tailoring a haircut to every single person. I'm always trying to make you the sexiest version of you. So you can give me a picture of like a vibe and aesthetic that you like, and maybe a length, but I'm gonna choose a shape and a silhouette that's gonna make you look sexy. So everything is tailored and personal. That's the difference between a good haircut and a great haircut. Like I'm not copy and pasting a haircut on your head. Like I'm literally curating and designing something that is gonna make you the most sexy you possibly can be. So yeah, give me some inspo, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I need to do. You know what I mean? People don't understand that you can literally shapeshift in haircutting. It's like how you'll see those makeup videos on TikTok and girls, they'll look like a totally different person after. Hairstylists can shapeshift like that too. Same with the beard. You can change the whole face shape. You gotta invest in a good barber, y'all, I'm telling you.
So would you say your art, the art that you engage in, is shape-shifting people?
Yeah, internally and externally.
Wow.
I'm kind of a big deal, Kenny.
Are there any particular times you've shape-shifted someone that really transformed that person?
I can honestly say a lot of the times, like, it's crazy how much more confident people will leave the barbershop, almost to the point where you're like, all right, don't get crazy. Bring it down to earth a little bit. Like,
they're feeling too fresh.
We need to humble you a little bit. But I think that's also in like the way you communicate with people. Because, you know, a lot of people don't know the difference between a good and great haircut. It's really important as a barber to explain to them why this looks good. You know, what bone structure it's accentuating.
Have you found it more meaningful to transform individual clients or the team that you've built and stayed with over time?
I honestly feel like mentoring a team is like the most fulfilling thing I could do. Like I'm absolutely in love with it. Like it's got to be as close to fulfilling as like having a child. Being able to mentor someone in that way, especially because like when you start a new career, there's a lot of vulnerability and fear. Like, am I gonna be successful? I just took a huge risk, like dropping out of college or, you know, paying for hair school. And it's scary because when you're an artist, you're your own brand. Even if you work under someone, you're still responsible for creating your own clientele. So that's scary because you have to have that confidence in order to encourage people to choose you as their barber. And that's scary at the beginning because, you know, you kind of have to fake that confidence at the beginning. And you have to sell yourself in. You know, if you don't believe that you're a good barber, then no one is going to want to get into your chair. So I feel like a big part of my mentorships are, you know, encouraging that confidence from within. And it goes so far beyond the technical work of haircutting. And I find that so fulfilling.
You know, you mentioned that it's almost as fulfilling as having a child. And one thing I picked up on is when I asked you what the biggest difference was in your mentoring style from when you first crafted a team to where you are today, is that you had to almost draw a boundary and not try to be their friend, but realize I'm sacrificing not wanting to look cool in front of them, but instead wanting to be someone who they look up to. And there's a big difference in how you show up and how you interact in that. I'm wondering, can you tell me about that shift in your mentoring style and how you've honed that and the power that's had?
I think a big part of that shift was becoming selflessness, to understand that you are placed in certain people's lives to serve a purpose and to help them grow in a certain way. So you have to really shut down your selfish wants to be their friend or be whatever you want to be in their life, and you have to just be who they need you to be. And a good comparison of this is the parent to child. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of times when a parent wants to just be friends with their child and have that camaraderie and goof around and have fun, but at the end of the day you have to choose what the child needs, and that's discipline and that's accountability. I really had to kind of learn that the hard way, but at the end of the day I know what my role is in their life.
What are 3 values that you would want to pass down to your children and or the people that you mentor? 3 values that you try to instill in them. Or what are some values that if you had a kid or your perfect mentor or mentee, what is a value that you try to instill in them?
I think the biggest value I would want to leave with people is just living a life where you leave an impact and understand that, you know, you might not feel like you matter in the world, or you might not feel like you're impacting people, but you are. Everything you do, just you being you inspires people to be themselves. So finding impact in everything that you're doing, I think, is the most valuable thing that you can do as a human being. And, you know, making that impact in a positive and loving way.
What problem would you say the art of cutting hair solves?
I think that confidence is like one of the most important traits that you can develop in your life, because I think that we vibrate in the highest version of ourselves when we're confident in who we are, and I think that haircuts can deliver that confidence in a really strong way. So I think that that's a huge problem that we can solve.
Is it a bad thing that there's a link between how someone feels and how they look? Is that something that the goal should be to get over completely, so that how you look doesn't influence your mood or your feeling or how you carry yourself or your confidence in your own skin? Or do you think it's a good thing that you should care about how you hold yourself and what you look like?
I mean, I know from surface level it can feel vain to care what you look like, but at the end of the day, that's everyone's first impression of you. So there's no way that you can prevent that. You know, that's just when you first meet someone, that's their first impression of you. What's the first thing you notice? Their shoes, their swag. That's their way to express themselves. So if you can relate to that in any way, you're going to feel more compelled to connect with that person because you guys have a similarity in that way. So I think that just being able to express yourself in a way that aligns with how you feel inside is really powerful, because it's a reflection of who you are. And I don't think it's vain or something that should be negative. I think it's an art form.
Yeah, I think there's levels to it. I almost see the person that comes into your shop and has a picture of a celebrity and is like, I want to look like this. That's almost like I want to get a good haircut because I care about what other people think and I'm doing it for other people. And I feel like the next level is being like, no, give me a haircut that fits me and I don't care what other people think. I'm gonna rock my own style and do it for myself. And I think that's a distinction and a level up.
I love that so much. Something that I always try to encourage in my consultations is, it doesn't matter what's in style. It matters what your style is and how we can bring it out through your hair. So whenever I have a consultation with someone, I look at their shoes. I think shoes tell a lot about a person. I ask about their lifestyle, what they do for a living, what they would consider their aesthetic. Sometimes I'll creep their Instagram to get a feel of just like who they are as a person and how we can bring that out through their hair. So I think it's really important to stay true to who you are and just do what feels right for you. Because again, that first impression is you want it to align with who you actually are internally as well.
That's a very holistic approach. And when I think about holistic approaches, whether it's for cutting hair, whether it's for mental health, I feel like this holistic approach is almost it's almost a better idea, a new way to approach things that is more encompassing that person's true authenticity. And when I think about the history of styles of haircuts, you'll think about certain eras, at least I do for men's eras, where you look at like the 1920s or 30s or 40s and people had like greased back hair, or maybe that's like the 70s or 80s. I'm wondering, you've been cutting hair for 7 years, what evolution have you seen in overall the fashion of hairstyle from when you first started cutting hair 7 years ago to where we are today?
Oh my gosh. The era that we're in now is the absolute best time to cut hair and the coolest time to cut hair since I started doing hair, because now everyone is starting to find a sense of who they are and really bring out their own personal style. Through the influence on social media, people are being presented with so many other trends outside of just what they're seeing in their hometowns. They're seeing trends now from all over the world, and they're able to kind of curate one that resonates the most with them. So I will say at this point in my career, I have the most diverse and just different types of haircuts that I'm doing all day. When I started cutting hair, every single haircut I did was like a hard part, high skin fade.
Oh.
It was dreadful. So I'm definitely able to also explore my creativity a lot more now too. And I like being able to... Ooh! Did you see that?
Oh, good catch. Yeah, are you okay? Good catch. I feel like the Converse shoes were perfect for that little catch right there.
But yeah, it's exciting seeing people really tune into their own unique styles and not feel like they have to conform to the trends in society.
I know it's hard to predict the future, but what do you hope to see in terms of the fashion of hair in the next 5 or 10 years?
I would like barbers and salons to be less separated, because I think that the length of hair on your head has nothing to do with your gender. And I think that even as stylists, we really put ourselves into boxes like, oh, I only do short hair, I only do long hair. And it's limiting, because now people are so much more flexible and open to trying different styles. So if you have a client and they've always gotten a skin fade and now they want to grow their hair out, well, now you don't know how to cut longer hair, and now you're gonna lose a client, and you're gonna lose a relationship that, you know, maybe you had built for years, and now you're gonna lose that just because you put yourself into a box and limited, you know, your growth. So I would like to see less separation between barbering and like the salons. I think it should all just be one.
You shared with me that you shaved your head. Is that true?
Yeah, I shaved my head a few times.
Can you walk me through from what made you want to shave your head to the experience of, as a female, having your head shaved, what that feels like?
I think that at a young age, women put a lot of their self-worth in their appearance, and I think a lot of that is tied into your hair and having to have like feminine hair. And I just felt like it would be really empowering to just shave my head and find my beauty internally and not have it so attached to the external and how people perceive me, you know, from first glance. And I think it's just a liberating thing when women, you know, let go of that external mask and just say like, hey, this is me. My worth is far more I have way more to offer the world than my appearance. I might be cute, but that ain't even the best thing about me, okay? Oh!
Good swerve. Watch out behind you.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Are you good?
I'm good.
Good save. That was smooth. You're a smooth criminal.
I'm a smooth operator.
So do you think everyone in the world should shave their head at least once?
I think that everyone should do whatever they need to do to believe deep in their soul that they have so much to offer the world outside of their appearance.
You know, the beginning of your story was trying to get a job at barbershops and people discriminating against you because of your gender. Do you think, I don't know if this is insensitive. I mean, do you see this as do you see that experience as a blessing because you turned that pain into beauty and started your own business? Do you think you would have started your own business without that?
Maybe I'm corny, but I just deeply believe that everything happens for a reason. So maybe that's what I needed, a little kick in the ass to say, well, yeah, girl, how bad do you want it? Like, yeah, if you really want to pursue this, then you're going to have to show everyone how bad you want it. And that worked for me. You know, I do good under pressure. And it kind of, yeah, maybe that anger fueled me a little bit to prove myself. I love when people doubt me. Please doubt me. Like when people say, you know, they made it alone, nobody helps them. Everyone who doubted me got me to where I am today. Because y'all really just lit me up inside and made me say, yo, I gotta prove all these people wrong. So, I'd have to say I'm pretty grateful for how everything has worked out. But that just comes down to your own personal mindset. Like, you can choose to be a victim, or you can rewrite your narrative and say, hey, you know, this is God testing me, asking me how bad I want it.
All right, one thing I want to give you props for is Headspace is the most clever name I've ever heard for a hair studio. How'd you come up with the name?
Headspace to me is letting go of fears to make room for dreams. And getting into that headspace of really reflecting and asking yourself, what do you want? I think in our society, we're all so busy that oftentimes we don't even have time to sit back and reflect and really figure out what it is that we want to do and if we're even on our way there. And over quarantine, I had nothing but time to reflect. And upon that reflection, I found that I wasn't working in a space that felt safe for a lot of my clients. A lot of my clients were females that got short hair. A lot of my clients were LGBTQ that didn't feel comfortable in the misogynistic male environment. And I felt called to create a space that would feel safe. And I would never have really had the energy to reflect on that if I didn't have that time alone to really dial into the proper headspace. And I just thought it was kind of cute and punny.
It is both of those for sure. So dope. What about the logo? By the way, the logo is so clever. It's, it's the person has leaves on their head. How did you come up with that? Hey, good girl you've ever seen before, like your neighborhood.
I'm trying to find the words to describe this girl without being disrespectful. I think
Yo!
that as barbers, a lot of people are having really deep conversations with us. We're building relationships with people behind the chair. Some of my clients have been coming to me every week for like 6 years. So as you can imagine, we're having very intimate conversations, and some of my clients have become some of my closest friends now. But we need to have a full cup to pour out of. People are trusting in us, confiding in us, and I think it's so important to have that full cup and have a lifestyle that's conducive to being able to have people access us in that way on a daily basis. And so I think that the symbolism of using like leaves as hair is to just like really make sure you're watering yourself and cutting the dead ends in your life and continuously making sure that you're stimulated to grow in the safest and most nourishing environment possible.
Was there a certain moment that you realized cutting hair can be so much more than just the act of cutting hair? And that's really what Headspace is all about, is about everything that is surrounding that. Was there a moment that breakthrough came to your mind and you decided to focus on that and develop that and develop develop the industry as a whole?
I think I just try to reflect as often as I can. And naturally, I'm a deep person. I like to have deep conversations with people. But it wasn't until clients would start to really express to me how our conversations impacted their lives that I understood that that was my purpose, and that that's the purpose in all things, is to connect with people. Or no matter who you're connecting with, like, we are all the same. We all have the same wants and desires and needs. And getting to connect with people from all walks of life has really made me understand that, like, we're not meant to go through life alone. We have to connect in order to grow and like learn from each other's mistakes and build that sense of community in everything that you do.
You are one of the most traveled people I know, given our age. We're the same age, I believe. You've been to Africa, you've been to different parts of Africa, China, Japan, Europe. And I'm wondering, are there any certain locations you've been to that gave you a more expansive view on your style of cutting hair and things that you've taken from other cultures and have integrated into your own style?
So for me, as an artist, it's really important for me to constantly be finding inspiration. And how I find inspiration is through new experiences and doing things I've never done before and diving into cultures that are new to me and having that culture shock. And that's what I get through traveling. So I find inspiration in all things. Like, I find inspiration in the way that people move and the way that people choose to live their lives. And although that might not influence my art aesthetically, it impacts my soul in a way that gives me energy and excitement and enthusiasm to do what I'm doing. Like, I get burnt out just like anyone else. Like, artists always get burnt out, and you have to be doing things that like set your soul on fire regularly to keep that passion in what you do. So traveling has been that for me.
Are there any particular places you went to and you were impressed by the hair, or just unexpected, didn't see it coming, the style of hair in the culture?
I would say specifically Japan was so inspiring to me because the fashion out of there is just like out of this world. I love how everyone has a sense of who they are in Japan. Like, everyone has their own style, whereas I feel like in America, if you walk around, you'll see a lot of the same shoes and like certain items that are trending at a certain time. Whereas in Japan, like, everyone just totally has like their own aesthetic, and people don't leave the house if they're not swagged out. So it's just like, you get so much inspiration just walking around the streets of Tokyo. I love it.
It's interesting that people... Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's interesting that people have their own style when you said like the professions that they have are more passed down from generation. So they don't choose their profession as much because they're doing it for their family's definition of success, maybe. But they do have their own style, which I think is interesting. I didn't expect.
Yeah, I think in specifically like Japanese culture, at least from my perspective of traveling there, it seems like people take a lot of pride in the way that they look and how they present themselves to the world. Like, when people turn 18 as a graduation present, a lot of the girls get like eyelid surgery and stuff like that. So, and it's like super normal. It's pretty normal for everyone to get like plastic surgery and stuff like that. So people care a lot about the way that they look out there. It's kind of part of the culture.
If Headspace wasn't a book, what would the name of this chapter be?
The space between.
And tell me why.
Because I feel like Headspace has gotten to a place that I could have never imagined it even getting to in such a short period of time. So now I'm really trying to figure out what the next step is. But I'm also just really trying to enjoy the journey and relish in the joy of everything I've created and just try to be here now. So I'm going to call this chapter The Space Between. This is just so fun.
Yeah, this has been otherworldly for sure.
I would like to do this every Friday until I die. Is this what Xbox Live is like? You can like talk to people while you're having the time of your life.
Velma's leading the pack. Oh.
I'm in boss lady mode.
Well, Taylor, it's been 3 years, and it's clear through all the reviews, through everyone you've impacted, that you've had such a positive impact on everyone you've interacted with, and it's been such an amazing unfolding of the hair cutting industry. And so on behalf of everyone you've had a positive impact on, including myself in our interactions, I just want to say thank you. Do you have any final words for the people?
Yeah, I want to thank you for the impact that you're leaving in so many people's lives, and like just spreading positivity in everything that you do. So I want to thank you for being a really positive impact in my life as well. And you know, you're impacting everyone that watches these, and you're inspiring people simply by being yourself. So thank you.
You are welcome, and the collaboration has been amazing. I've loved all the creative ideas that we've had, just sharing our ideas and the creativity that we both bring in our own unique ways, and share, crossing our unique lens. So that being said, it's been a pleasure, and cheers to our journey wherever it takes us. Thank you so much for sharing and being on Paper Chasers.
Cheers! Woo!